Hello YouTube, it's Atticus, and welcome. We have a Dark Elf versus Lizard game. So this was a request from General Eisenhorn, I think is his name. He wanted to see some Dark Elf versus Lizard, so I did a couple games. And, you know, this matchup is so different. I mean, there's so many different ways it could go. So there's not going to be really one set build, but I could show you... I can show you a build that I feel is middle of the ground that kind of covers a majority of your bases. Actually, I'll show you two builds. This is one that I like. This is one that is good against very elite kind of Death Star-y lizard builds. And then there's another one which is really good against large numbers, huge armies, you know, lots of skinks, and you got skirmishers and things like that. So this is more for a more powerful Death Star kind of Lizardman build. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what I did. For my Lord, you take a Dreadlord sword and crossbow. So yeah, not Malekith, this is the Dreadlord sword and crossbow. So yeah, you want the versatility of having a black dragon for the breath attacks. You could dive down, but more importantly, you want that armor piercing range, because you really don't want to be landing on the Lizardmen. They have a lot of good anti-large. They have Temple Guard, they have Saurus, they have all kinds of things that if you get, you know, make a really bad dive, it will cost you the game. So I like having the Dreadlord who can sit there and shoot his arrows at people, but if you do see an opening, then you can land. So it's a little bit more safer, and it's a little bit more cost effective. It's only like 2,700 or something to get this guy. For your infantry corps guys, you just go a bunch of shaft units pretty much. And when I say shaft units, Dark Elves don't really have shaft units. They don't have expendable units. But what I mean is you bring your low tier units. We're not going any executioners. We're not going any Phoenix Guard. We're kind of going for numbers. So you mix your lineup with a couple Dread Spears. I had them all the way up to gold chevrons for my actual spears. I have the Hellebroni in the center. I like to do that for my poison. A couple bleak swords scattered here in the center. And you've noticed I have my men scattered out. And this is because of the splash damage of things like the salamander. So I don't want them getting all grouped up. And also because of Lord Croak. So you definitely don't want to group your armies up when you're fighting Lizardmen. You want to spread out because Lord Croak could single-handedly wipe out your front line if you're not careful. On each flank here we have Black Orc Corsairs of Hambos, and these guys serve as a counter to Lizardmen Cavalry, Lizardmen Skirmishers like Chameleon Skinks. They can actually trade with any kind of air force that the Lizards bring. So yeah, it's always important to bring a couple of these guys. They have so many so many units that they can counter, and they're cheap. So I mean, it's a safe bet to bring a couple of them. Also, we just bring one unit. You're a heavy hitter. You want one unit that could deal with any Temple Guard or something like that. You don't want to get, you know, what if your opponent would have brought like 3 Temple Guard? Then you're going to be struggling with bleak swords. So this is what Slaughters do. These ladies are pretty powerful. They have really good melee defense, and they'll be pretty well suited to deal with the Lizardmen infantry. Also, I bring bolt throwers, and this was a little bit in part because of this map. My opponent, I joined his game, so I figured this map would really benefit from having some artillery, especially since he has a long way to traverse. But generally, I would still bring bolt throwers. I mean, they're just really good against any of the monstrous units, and they're a counter to your salamanders, which are the things you want to get rid of pretty quickly, because these guys right here just do so much damage. So yeah, that's my infantry corps. We got the 2 bolt throwers. You can see I also have a chariot, so I always like to bring a chariot, guys, just because it's, you know, like I said before, armor piercing range, and also for the charges when the opportunity presents itself. And generally what will happen is your opponent will go off chasing them, so I like having that chariot. But this is the real killing power of my army, we have 3 repeater crossbows. So yeah, I mean, this was kind of it can be a risky pick if your opponent brings chameleons, but if that's the case, be patient with them. Keep them in the back, use other units to screen, and then use these guys. Don't lose them. These guys are going to be doing the majority of my killing. You can see against this army right here, there's not really a good counter to it. The only thing he can really do to shut him down is his salamander or his ancient salamander. So that's my build. For my opponent here, we are fighting old Saurus, a Saurus Old Blood. So yeah, really powerful damage. He has the damage resistance, anti-large, and so on. We also have Lord Croak. So this is what I was telling you guys about. Like, be sure you scatter out, because this guy is one of the most powerful magic dealers in the game. Like, his spells are ridiculously powerful. We also have an ancient salamander, guys. So yeah, this thing, like I was saying, is really powerful. It's an artillery unit. For his front line, he's going really Death Star, guys. He's going for muscle. So he just has a bunch of Saurus warriors, and generally these guys would do really good against what I brought. But we're going to be able to even out the fight with the distance, the repeater crossbows, and the bolt throwers. So, and then my opponent does have a unit of the Umbral Tide, so these guys are going to be my number one thing to focus, and then some Croxigars. So, really cool matchup. Let's go ahead and start it and see how it goes. So, right off the bat, as Apocalypse said to Professor X, you can see that, yeah, since I don't see any obvious counter to my repeater crossbows, we're going to try to get some early damage in. So we're going to start focusing on his Saurus Swordblood. And one of the things you're noticing in the since the new DLC is people are not bringing healing. No one's really bringing Bastiladon Revivification Crystals. So any damage I could do to his Lord, I mean, he can't heal it. So that's great for me. You can see that we're getting some really good value. And, yeah, we're just going to be really patient. We're just going to pull away, and we're going to start harassing them. The bolt thrower is going to start opening them up on these salamanders. We need to get rid of these guys. And yeah, you can see we're just instantly going to kill just one model with the first volley. So that's really good. These guys are a big threat. Any model count that we could kill works for me. You can see I'm getting... I forgot to mention my opponent did have the Hopok cohorts, or whatever they're called. But, yeah, they're going to try to screen out these repeater crossbows, but they won't be able to catch them. Look how good we're doing against his Saurus Oldblood, guys. I mean, these repeater crossbows are so annoying to deal with. And, yeah, there's such a good counter to what the Lizardmen bring. He could chase me all day. All he's going to do is get tired. And, yeah, you can see that I'm just trying to do one unit to cover the other unit, and so on, so on. If he chases one, the other one chases. And you can see that we're focusing his cavalry right now. He turned for a second. You can see the bolt thrower is pretty much just wiping these guys out. Same with my repeater crossbows, and we're just doing a lot of damage. You can see that the salamanders are going to open up, and Roarcroak is going to try to get a spell, it looks like, but we're going to pull away last minute, thankfully. You can see my Dread Spirits are going to get in position to catch these guys, and some of my infantry and start colliding with his. You can see the Black Orc Hambos are going to start shooting into these Saurus warriors with shields. But yeah, they're not going to do that much damage. They're just there to kind of be of a nuisance. You can see that we're doing a little damage with my Dreadlord, and we're going to get a really good magic missile right onto the Saurus. We've already gotten him down to about half health, guys, which is just really good. Let's go ahead and slow it down so I can show you everything that's happening here. So, yeah, we have our individual infantry fights. You can see that I'm just kind of scattering out my troops, trying to deal with each one of his pockets, keep them out of my bolt throwers. I'm going to see that he has these Saurus right here who are kind of exposed, so I'm going to send my Sisters to Slaughter to deal with them. And, yeah, we're getting ready to break his Cold One Spear Riders, which will take a lot of pressure off of me. And the Hillebroni are coming up to the center pocket to try to get into his leadership. You can see I do try to get a breath weapon on the Ancient Salamander. I was hoping my opponent wasn't paying attention, but he was. But I still have this scary pocket of repeater crossbows that will be able to really focus those guys down. You can see Lord Croak is going to get a spell out, but yeah, you don't want to be wasting Croak's spell on your on the cavalry. It's way better suited for infantry. You can see that it does a little bit of damage. It kind of breaks that unit, so it is what it is. You can see that we're doing really good damage, guys. We got the Ancient Salamander kind of targeted. The Bolt Thrower starting to shoot at him, and my opponent is going to try to get another Croak spell. So yeah, I'm going to catch this one and pull away last moment. And this is the reason I love bringing the Dreadlord with the crossbow, because you can just sit up there and just shoot at him, and there's nothing the Lizardmen can really do. You can see that there is let's go slow it down again. There's a lot of things going on. We're holding up 2 units right here with 1 spear unit, so that's really good value for me. This would be a really good spot for a breath weapon. You can see the Sisters of Slaughter are fighting these Saurus warriors, and they're actually fighting they're hurting my sisters a little bit more than I thought they would. My opponent is going to get into this Bolt Thrower, but yeah, the Black Ark Corsairs of Hambos are providing overwatch. No matter what he does, he's going to be taking damage. And look, guys, this is what I was talking about. A lot of times your opponents won't pay attention. They'll try to chase off your chariot, and we're just doing guaranteed damage, and we've lured him away from the map. Over here, the Croxigars is the same thing. You can see these Hambos are just shooting into them. These guys have how much armor? 100 armor, so it's not going to do that much damage, but it is going to start to add up. So let's go ahead and speed it back up. His Salamanders are starting to shoot at my Dreadlord, so I'm going to have to retreat. But look how much damage we're doing to Lord Croak. He's getting focused by my repeater crossbows, but he's wasting a lot of magic trying to deal with these guys. I'd be much better suited fighting his infantry units instead of my cavalry units, in my opinion. You can see that the Hillebroni are finding his leadership right now, and seeing that, he's going to get poisoned. I'm going to try to land. So yeah, I figured I'd be kind of safe right here. I'm going to get a little bit of a charge on the Ancient Salamander, but he's going to get the damage-resistant aura, which is going to buy him some time. You can see we're starting to get kind of gooned right now, so I need to kind of pull him back up in the air as soon as possible. But yeah, especially when I see the Saurus is trying to come after me. And you can see he does have a scary pocket of Saurus warriors. So this is my execute. This is when you get the Dreadlord back into the air. You can see the repeater crossbows are just doing everything in their power to shoot the Saurus sword blood. And yeah, he's getting ready to die, especially with the next volley of the Helibrony. You can see my Dreadlord is getting kind of hit though. I'm going to get a breath weapon, but I'm going to end up just doing some friendly fire, which wasn't probably the best usage of that breath weapon, but we are going to break him. So now we just have this scary little pocket right here. I'm going to move the Dreadlord. I thought about getting a charge in, but yeah, I'm just taking a lot of damage. You can see that my opponent is going to get a spell off by Croak, and this one should do a lot of damage. We'll go ahead and watch it. And this is what I'm talking about, guys. Croak is just ridiculous. So powerful. You can see that I am going to try to land on the Ancient Salamander here. The balance of power is really strongly in my favor, guys. You can see, let's go ahead and slow it down one more time right here. You can see that my bolt throwers have been shut down, but I still have a Chariot at full health. You can see I'm luring away these Saurus warriors. I got some spears and some bleak swords holding these guys up, and we kind of just took advantage of having this big map. And I mean, like I said, these repeater crossbows have just been a bane for my opponent. He is going to break my Lord, though, so yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate, a little bit of a micro mistake, but yeah, I mean, at this point, guys, we have a really good lead, and you can see we're just doing everything we can to try to deal with his leadership. We're focusing Croak. He's super slow, so I figured why not? And you can see these Hambos are going to be a perfect counter for these Salamanders and be able to start wearing him down. Luckily, my Lord is going to come back, and we'll be able to get him into the battle here pretty quickly. You can see the Sisters of Slaughter are fighting the Lizardmen right here, and yeah, we're getting ready to break the Salamander. The Umbral Tide right here. Same with the Lord Croak, who should be out of his Winds of Magic here pretty quickly. You can see this little goon squad of repeater crossbows has been a real problem for my opponent. He really needed some chameleon skinks or some air force or something like that. You can see that my Chariot is trying to come to get into the main fight, but at this point, guys, look at that balance of power. It's really going off in my favor. You can see I try to get a breath weapon onto Croak, but it's just going to be army losses for my opponent and a win for the Druchii. So yeah, good game to my opponent. The final shot is going to kill Croak with the Dreadlord, and yeah, so that is one way to deal with the Lizardmen. More specifically, when they go kind of powerful, Death Star-y kind of, units, elite units. So yeah, looking at the in-screen breakdown, guys. I mean, the repeater crossbows were the real MVPs, and yeah, they don't have a lot of kills, but they were focusing on lords this whole time. They killed the Saurus Oldblood. They killed the Ancient Salamander. They pretty much killed Lord Croak. So yeah, these guys are just really paid for themselves. Really good value. My infantry was plenty sufficient. I mean, even though the Saurus are a lot more powerful, it doesn't matter. I mean, we're not trying to win the infantry fight. We're trying to snipe the leadership and trying to get his elite units. They did their job. They held things in place. The Helibrony were able to get into the center pocket and poison his Lord. The Chariot lured away some of his men. I mean, the Chariot is one of those units you just pick and then forget. And the bolt throwers, I mean, they did good. I mean, one of them kind of got shut down early by his cavalry, but we were able to shut down his 1,400 Cold One Spear Riders, and we were able to shut down his Salamanders. So, Sisters of Slaughter always pay for themselves. And the Dreadlord, guys. I love the Dreadlord sword and crossbow. I said it in my Dark Elf guide. He is my favorite generic lord of any race, because he's the only one that has armor-piercing missiles that can fly, you know what I mean? So, having that Black Dragon, you saw it, guys. I mean, I would use his range units when it suited me, when it was risky, and then I would drop down and land whenever I thought I had an opening. So, and as for my opponent, Gawks, good game. The only thing I would say is I don't know about using Krog's magic on the cavalry, on the repeater crossbows, but then again, he didn't really have a choice. He didn't really have anything to counter these guys, so he kind of was forced to. But yeah, definitely in this build, I mean, we used the map to our advantage. We used our repeater crossbows and our mobility to our advantage, and we used Rule in the Sky to our advantage. So, all right, General, I hope that helps you with this matchup. I'll show you one more Lizardman build here a little bit later. And yeah, guys, so I'll see you in the next one. It's Atticus, and have a good night. Bye.